Powered by Riverside.
Hey, welcome. BJB Banner today. It's suddenly a new enthusiasm about basketball games coming up.
Right.
Mike Rochon with me for another right 100% spot on preview.
Right.
We
You
did
just never know.
nail a couple of things though. We talked about Caravan. Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about them struggling from the outside. I think might have mentioned their bench wasn't much. All factors.
I mean, we said that, besides the game at Creighton, they really hadn't played that
Right.
well in the last month and a half. And I mean, if you listen to Hurley, man, he was not a fan of their team's defense after the game.
No, I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the whole thing, but I'd like to go back and watch the whole thing and see who we were when we were running offense, like who we were taking it to. Because he mentioned there was two guys. I think Caravan was one of them, because then he talked later about him not being 100% and moving like a, what did he say? He moved like a cargo ship. Yeah. But there had to be somebody else. I'm kind of guessing maybe it was Ball, maybe.
Could have been. They also, like, anytime Smith was in the game, they went after him a lot.
Yeah.
So the backup guard.
Okay.
So, and because they were in foul trouble, with Ball being in foul trouble, he had to play probably more than what they normally would have. So.
Yeah, and the other thing was too, I thought, and maybe it was just a great job we did, but past performance would say no. I thought UConn just forgot about Reed in the second half. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, they just started chucking up shots, and it's McDermott's thing, and it was McDermott's thing when Kalk was there. He made people make a 15-foot jump shot, and it's amazing how many guys can't make that shot.
For sure, yeah.
Now, that's one thing Ball has been making. He's been making that 15-foot jump shot. He hasn't been making the threes, but
right.
I mean, let's face it. They missed a ton of bunnies at the basket.
They did, and we talked about it a little bit. It was nice to see somebody else have the struggles on the offensive end. The Jays were due to have a game where the other team just struggled.
Well, they did score 81 points, didn't they?
Right. I know, it's great.
84.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was great to see. It was, and I know Austin talked about this on the post game. It was just great to watch, Fedor, Josh Dix, those guys just get downhill. And I know we've all been begging for it all year, that these guys just turn the corner and go downhill and put pressure on the basket. And it was great to see them continually do it, because they were doing it, against DePaul in the first half, and then just stopped doing it in the second half. And I know DePaul's defense kind of had a little bit to do with it, but UConn's defense is just as good. And it was great to see finally, the Jays put together 40 minutes. So.
Yeah, it was. Let's talk about Vino Mas and VinoMas.com. They will open today at noon, by the way, because of the weather. So, but they will have their wine tasting tonight as normal in the Eagle Run location. They'll have a special wine tasting on Monday night too that you'll want to go to, and then live music tomorrow night. So check it all out. It's Vino Mas, VinoMas.com. One team that hasn't really, like I know Hurley was talking about, it's been coming for a while. One team that has been playing really steady, I think, has been St. John's.
Yeah. Yep. They are, they've won 12 straight here, 21-5. They now have the lead.
They won, excuse me, but they've won 12 straight. Plus, they've played pretty solidly in every single game of those 12.
For sure. Yes. They've, there's been a few games. Obviously, it's the Big East. It's a grind. I know, everybody's talking about the conferences and what it has been, but it's still, you still have to go on the road and play these games at tough places. So for them to go, they had a kind of a dogfight the other night, Wednesday night against at Marquette, and they just make the plays when they need to, and that's been a major issue for the Jays throughout the year, and why their record is what it is because those plays Creighton's not making. St. John's is making those plays. They're making the big plays. They're getting the big rebound. They're getting the big stop. So, it's going to be tough. If you look at these two games, and obviously, coming off of the DePaul loss and then the Villanova loss, you looked at your next two games. Yeah, you got to go to UConn and you got to go to St. John's. If you were going to steal one, I think everybody kind of pointed towards the UConn just because of the way McDermott has Hurley's number. And, it's just this game at Madison Square Garden, against St. John's, this just hasn't been good for the Jays in the past.
Well, I thought it would be the other way around personally, but I thought we had a better chance at St. John's just because they've won a lot in a row. They're due to probably lose one.
It's just tough. It's just tough matchups. For the Jays. With Ejiofor and Hopkins, and then Sellers, Jackson. Mitchell is just, man, he's kind of the X factor on this team. I think Dylan Mitchell, like, he just does everything, all those little things. He's just a pest on the boards. I think the other night against Marquette, he had his fingerprints on pretty much everything. He had 5 assists, 8 rebounds, but he didn't score at all, and you could probably point and be like, he was a major factor in why they won that game, just because those big rebounds he gets, those loose balls he gets, the defensive stops, he just makes life miserable for everybody. So, he's a menace out there.
Yeah. Patino mentioned somebody else. Who's the guard that he thinks is like really forced them over the hump the last 3 or 4 games?
Is it the transfer, Darling?
Yes, Darling. He said everybody wants to talk about Subi and then sometimes Hopkins, but he goes, Darling's really been the guy here the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, and you could actually point, because when we did the St. John's preview the first time, we talked about how they were struggling at the point guard position, and Darling just, he was a transfer and he was struggling, and kind of since that point, in the last, especially week and a half, 2 weeks, he's been really good.
Yeah. Hopkins is kind of starting to come around too. He was really struggling earlier in the year.
Yeah, and he maybe the hard foul woke him up a little bit. I don't know.
Well, it was before that, but yeah.
I know. He's playing well. He's just, it's him and Ejiofor. They just, we talked about it last time. Their motors are just unbelievable. They are just, man, when they are in there, they are going hard all the time, and it's very tough on the opposition. And the Jays are gonna have to meet that motor, that energy, that effort, and they did on Wednesday night, and they're gonna have to do it again tomorrow at Madison Square Garden. So.
Then they have some foreign kids that have really shot the ball well.
Yes. I don't know. I'll probably mess up as Leotopolis. He had 17 against Creighton in the first matchup. He was 5 of 8 from 3-point range. He was actually the leading scorer in that game. He's just, yeah, he's a really good shooter. He had been quiet actually leading up to that Creighton game, and then he was fantastic, and then he's kind of just used that as momentum. and has shot the ball really well. You know, these last few weeks when they've went on their streak here.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like we mentioned the first time we did this preview, they're a much better shooting team this year than they were last year. Because I know that was his big thing. He was like, I'm gonna go get shooters, man. We gotta have
Yep.
shooters.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean they can score the basketball. You know, 84 points per game, which is second in the Big East and 33rd overall in the NCAA. You know, shoot 45% from the field and 34% from 3-point range. And I think that was kind of a product of early struggles. Recently, they've been shooting the ball a lot better, and they're good from the free throw line, which is kind of another bugaboo these past couple years for St. John's is their struggles from the free throw line. Ejiofor still a little bit struggles from the line, but as a team, they don't struggle as bad as they used to, which is obviously a big thing for them because they are first in the Big East at drawing fouls. They draw about 21 fouls a game, so they put a ton of pressure on the defense. So the Jays, it'll be a good matchup there because obviously the Jays, you know, for the most part, play without fouling, and so you know that's going to kind of be a big key in this matchup is can the Jays defend without fouling because St. John's will put pressure on them.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, so St. John's game plans against us after the UConn game, they're probably gonna like really not let us get downhill, I would
Yep.
think.
Yep. Yeah, you know, and so they're a solid defensive team. Like I wouldn't put them up as like one of like like the thing is they just wear on you. You know, they're gonna pick you up full court, and they're just gonna wear on you. It's just gonna be continual pressure, which just makes things miserable. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes to have to go against that for 40 minutes. It wears you down a lot quicker than what you're used to. You know, like their metrics and things like that on defense don't jump off the page. You know, they force a lot of turnovers, 14 per game. They get about 8 steals a game. So, you know, actually, you know, as poor as that game was the first time around, Creighton only turned the ball over. I think it was 8 times, 9 times. They turned the ball over 9 times in that game, which, you know, if you look at it, you're like, that's not a bad thing for 40 minutes of pressure. But
Right.
so you know that's a key tomorrow. Is Jays are gonna have to take care of the basketball. You have to avoid live ball turnover, pick sixes. So that's going to be a massive key tomorrow.
Yeah, schedule-wise, the games are more spread out again tomorrow, which is good. Don't forget that if you're into this sort of thing, the NCAA reveals on at 10:30 on CBS, revealing the top 16, and the media did theirs yesterday and just totally crapped it. I mean, they didn't include Texas Tech, and that's just a bunch of guys that have never done bracketology, and they're going, "Oh, well, they lost Toppin, so they're not going to be good, so we can't put them in the top." That's not what you do. You have to look at it as it is today. I mean, you can't project ahead. You don't know. Texas Tech might win all their games. Look at Kansas without Peterson. They play better. I mean, you don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
a reasonable person would say, "No, they're going to struggle." Well, of course, but I mean. You can't project it. It's just like you can't project UConn smashing Creighton.
Right.
Sometimes stuff happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then back to so we kind of touched on the standings the other night, but so now we're back and forth, tied with Seton Hall, but we have the tiebreaker over them, and then after that is DePaul is one game in the loss column behind us. So, DePaul's kind of a team on the come here. So and we've said that all season, frankly. The good thing is, well, how are we going to hold on to that? What if we lose to DePaul at home? Then we'll be right back. But the thing is, Seton Hall still has UConn and St. John's left.
Yep.
So, and they've got to add Xavier too.
Yep.
Now they played Georgetown at home. Who knows? It's a coin flip,
Yeah,
right?
it really
Um,
is.
they got to go. I mean, they have 3 tough games left, Seton Hall,
Oh yeah,
besides the Georgetown one. So I
yeah.
think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to stay above the cut line. So
Yeah, I mean that was a big loss for Seton Hall the other night to DePaul.
yeah, they got beat
That
kind of
was
handily too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
at home too.
by 12 points. Yeah.
Yeah,
Again, they score 57.
right. It's you put a lot of pressure on yourself
It
if
shows
you
how
can
bad
only.
Providence defense is. They scored 87 against Providence. It's-
Yeah,
And Xavier. Xavier's another bad defense team. They scored 86 against them. Yeah, those are the only
yeah,
2 teams they've been able to score any points. Marquette's kind of bad. They scored 79 against them, I guess.
yeah.
But yeah. So what do the Jays have to do?
Well, like we just mentioned, you know, hopefully, they found something offensively, and that's another thing we talked about on the preview of the UConn game is find some things that you do well in that game and see if you can carry that for the rest of the season. And the Jays showed that they have skilled guards that can get downhill and put pressure on the rim. And I think everybody has been asking for that, is to put pressure on the rim without Kalkbrenner now, with the high pick and roll lob. Just nobody was putting pressure on the rim. That makes it super challenging to get open 3-point looks. And the Jays did that on Wednesday night, and they're gonna have to continue that. Now, St. John's is gonna make that very, very challenging, but it's one of those things that they're gonna have to continue to do. And even if it's a missed shot at the rim, it's still putting pressure on the rim. The Jays are not going to be able to rely on knocking down a ton of threes against St. John's to win this basketball game. They're going to have to do what they did the other night.
Yeah. Yeah, I think going to the rim against St. John's, you might
It's going to
not
be
be the
tough.
way to make
Yeah.
your living, but we'll see. Yeah, let's roll it out there and give it a shot.
Yeah.
We already got one we didn't think we were going to get, so there we go. Then we
Yeah.
come home, we play DePaul and Providence at 2 huge games.
Massive.
Win
Yep.
those, and I think we're in pretty good shape heading
Yeah.
into the
And
Big East tournament.
just looking back at the first St. John's matchup, with about 8 minutes left, that game was 25-25, and then St. John's ended the half on a 27-9 run to be up 52-34 at halftime. And we talked about that a little bit against the first time they played UConn.
Same thing.
They were right there. So can the Jays do what they did again? Is keep this game close. Give yourself a shot in the second half. You're not going to be able to get down 12, 15 points against St. John's and come back and win. That's just not the way Creighton's built this year. They're going to have to keep this close. When St. John's goes on a little bit of a run, weather the storm, have Josh Dix make a big shot, Nick Graves make a big shot. That's what they did against UConn in that second half when UConn jumped out to that 7-point lead. They hit a couple. Nick Graves came down, hit a couple big shots, and kind of weathered the storm, and the Jays got right back into it. So I'm hoping it's a similar story from Wednesday night, and we have with 4 minutes left in that ball game. We have a ball game. So
Yeah. For those of you who care, we've talked about this a little bit throughout the season. The Jays have now moved into the automatic bid section of the Crown. Their net has improved, so they're now 74 in the net. The next best is Butler at 80, and then Providence at 83. So if we beat Providence, we'll be fine. And then I don't think, and I'm not sure, I don't think they can take teams under 500. And Providence is 4 games under right now. So real chance to get in the
Yeah.
ground, which you can laugh at it all you want. I just
Oh no,
whole
I
month of
just I laugh.
practices.
I laugh because it's in Vegas. That's the only reason I laugh.
What's wrong with that?
Creighton's
Oh, yeah.
Creighton's really good in Vegas. That's
Well,
why I
Sean,
laugh.
it'd be nice if we go play some golf there.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm in now. Let's go to
Yeah,
the
there
crown.
you go. See, and there's a day off in between there, I think too. But
All
however,
right.
I think if you lose, you're out, and then I'm playing cancellation. So
Okay.
you might be going home early.
That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But you are right. The extra practice time is massive. It will be massive for a guy like Karam, that Hudson, guys like that. Just extra practice time is it's massive
Yeah.
for these guys.
I haven't heard any update on Hudson's availability either.
Yeah, that was really weird. I never saw it. Did you see him tweak the ankle?
It was on. Yeah, it was something on the offensive end. Yeah, he was away from the play, so they didn't really.
Okay.
You didn't really see it.
Okay.
I don't know what happened there. It didn't appear to be terribly serious.
No, because he was
Um,
very energetic and jumping around on the sidelines too.
yeah.
So
So, I think they went with Blake when he got hurt, and then Blake went off, and it was like, okay, we're gonna ride him. You know.
yeah,
So.
yeah,
I do want to talk briefly about RTI Threads. Go to rtithreads.com. Check out all they have to offer. As I said, you can see our baseball preview is up right now. So you can see that for tonight's game against UC San Diego. It's at 8 o'clock on ESPN Plus, so that'll be exciting to watch that. And then, so thinking about baseball, you might need to get some nicer, warmer gear. All these people that thought after Tuesday and Wednesday that by early next week we'll be playing golf again. Well,
yeah,
that's changed a little bit now.
a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to take it, even though the snow is very light and probably doesn't have a lot of moisture. It's going to take a long time to melt this, and the ground is warm, so it's going to help. But it's not supposed to be in the 50s, I think, until next week. So
Yeah,
it's going to take a little
yeah,
while to get rid of the snow. But anyway.
yeah.
Go to RTI Threads. You can get warmer gear if you want. You can look at springtime stuff with T-shirts and so forth. So check it out, rtithreads.com. All right, that's it for today. Everybody get busy and get out there and get your driveway shoveled out.
Yeah,
Make
get
your
your
kids do it. They're not at
driveway.
school.
Yeah, get your driveway shovel, get everything cleared out, and come down to Our Lady of Lourdes for a fish fry tonight. So
Oh, yeah, got to
I'll
have
be
those
there.
fish fries.
Come on down.
The most bizarre thing, I got to say, that's the
Yeah,
most bizarre thing. Where I grew up, the Catholic church we had was probably the smallest as far as membership, okay? So, never really knew anything about it. Went to college, never really heard about it. Just coming here,
yeah,
because there's such a large Catholic population, I
yep,
just been here 30 years and I still can't get over it.
yeah. Yep, it is. It's a good time. We have the Our Lady of Lourdes still has the cheapest prices of all the fish fries right now. So
Yeah, I
if you're
know.
looking for a
That's the
meal,
other
come
thing
on
is
down.
people go around to do oh, here's the top 5 fish fries in Omaha, and they rate them
Yeah.
oh, this one has a real long line, but they do
Oh,
give
that's
you beer when you're in line
that's the holy name one. Yeah, it'll be a little cold out there tonight and snowy. So
Ooh, that's another thing. So, yeah, I imagine some of these churches were built a long time ago, and they don't have the facilities to get
yeah,
everybody inside to wait in line.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, enjoy fish fries tonight, everybody.
yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Go Jays.